Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. In this video, we're going to show you how to troubleshoot the top 7 reasons why your refrigerator runs too long. Stick around to the end of the video for an important tip that can help save you money. But before we begin, we're going to make sure the appliance is unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also, make sure you turn off the water supply underneath the sink. The first thing we need to check are the condenser coils. They condense and cool the refrigerant in the system. If the refrigerator runs too long, check to make sure the coils are clean. If they're dirty, it could cause the refrigerator to have to run longer to get down to the correct temperature. They're usually located in the rear of the unit behind the access panel. Once you have the panel off, carefully clean the condenser and the rest of the area. Now we need to look at the defrost timer. It controls the defrost cycle of the refrigerator. The defrost timer is made up of a motor, gears, and contacts. It switches the refrigerator between the cooling and defrost cycles and helps keep the evaporator free of ice buildup. They have a set number of hours for cooling and minutes of defrost. As an example, this one will run for 8 hours and defrost for 30 minutes. Defrost timers are usually mounted in the control section of the refrigerator, but on older models, they may be behind the kick panel. If your refrigerator runs too long, it could be that the defrost timer has failed. When this happens, the evaporator freezes up, cold air can't be circulated around the unit, and it has to run longer to try and bring the temperature down. In order to check and see if the timer motor is advancing, you can mark the shaft of the timer and then check later to see if it's moved. If it didn't, then the motor or gears have failed and the defrost timer will have to be replaced. You can also manually advance the timer with that center shaft. Use a flat blade screwdriver to advance the timer. It will click as you do. Then it will make a louder click as it goes into defrost. When you're in defrost mode, the compressor should stop running and the heater should come on. In order to find out, you'll have to temporarily turn the power back on. You must do this when the freezer compartment is cold. Do not try it on a fridge that's been unplugged to defrost, otherwise the defrost thermostat will not let the heater come on. In order to tell if the heater is working, you'll have to access it behind the back wall of the freezer. After about 1 to 2 minutes, you should be able to feel the heat from it. If the heater doesn't come on, then do the checks for the heater and the thermostat in the upcoming sections. If those parts check out okay, that usually means the contacts inside the timer are bad and won't send power to the heater. If the contacts are bad, then the defrost timer will have to be replaced. If you need to order a part, simply go to AppliancePartsPros.com and type in your model number. Find your part on the easy-to-read diagrams and match it to the number below. Click on the part if you want to see more pictures of the item or watch its repair video. You can also scroll down to see DIY stories from customers like you or ask a question in the Q&A section. Once you're ready, you can add the part to your cart. It's that easy. Most orders will arrive within 2 business days. Now we need to check the temperature sensor. It tells the control board the temperature inside the freezer. Temperature sensors are white plastic sensor bulbs. They tell the control board the temperature inside the freezer section so it can run the compressor as needed to maintain the desired temperature. Temperature sensors are often used in multiple places in the fridge, many times behind the back wall, inside an air duct, or behind an access panel. If the refrigerator is running too long, it could be that the temperature sensor has failed or is reading out of its normal range and the control board thinks it needs to keep the compressor running to get the unit down to the correct temperature. In order to test the sensor, we'll need to remove it from the system. Most times you can just unplug it, so follow the wires back to the nearest connection point to see if it unplugs. Otherwise, you'll have to cut it out for testing. As long as you have access to the plug or the bare wires, you may just be able to leave it in the fridge for testing. Once you're ready to test it, you need to check the ambient air temperature. In our case, it's about 73 degrees Fahrenheit. The sensor will have a different ohms reading depending upon the temperature, so you'll have to look at your tech sheet again to see what it should read. Our sheet says about 5,400 ohms at 73 degrees Fahrenheit. So set your meter to ohms. Our meter automatically detects whatever ohms are coming in, but you may need to set your meter to read the proper ohm level. Touch the probes to the wiring harness pins or bare wires, whichever you have, and check the ohms reading. It should be close to the one specified in your tech sheet. If it is, you can reinstall it, but if the reading's way off or you're not getting a reading at all, you'll have to replace it. Next, we'll look at the cold control. It's the control you set the refrigerator temperature with. Cold controls have been used for many years. They have a shaft for the knob to mount on a sensor bulb that senses the temperature, and a body which has the contacts inside of it. Most also have 2 wire terminals. They're usually located on the control panel, mounted right behind the control knob. If your fresh food section is too warm, it could be that the cold control is bad. As the refrigerator gets warmer and colder, the fluid in the sensor bulb expands and contracts. The contacts inside the cold control are open and closed by the pressure created in the sensor bulb. If you notice the refrigerator is running too long, it could be that the contacts inside are stuck. As a simple test, while the refrigerator is running, you can try knocking on the area around the knob to see if this will break the contacts free. If it works and the compressor shuts off, that's a good indication that the contacts are sticking and the cold control needs to be replaced. If it didn't work, make sure to unplug the fridge again before you move on. In order to see if the part can carry an electric current, we have to test it with a multimeter set to continuity. Once you have it set, touch the probes together to make sure it's working. In order to test the cold control, you'll have to open the control section and remove the wires. Depending upon the design, you may have to remove the knob and screws to get to the wires. You want to make sure the cold control is in the off position. Then touch a probe to each terminal. It should not have continuity in the off position. Then turn the control on. It should have continuity when you have it in the on position. If the control fails the continuity test, it'll have to be replaced. The last part of the control to check is the sensor bulb. Over time, they can rub against something or just fail and start leaking. If you see any damage or indications of oily residue along the bulb or where it mounts to the body of the control, then it'll have to be replaced. As always, guys, hit those like and subscribe buttons now to help support us making more of these videos. Now we need to check the defrost thermostat. It's a safety device that shuts off the defrost cycle if the freezer gets too warm. Defrost thermostats cut the power off to the heater if the temperature gets too hot. This is so it doesn't get too hot in the freezer section and starts melting the frozen food. They usually have a temperature rating stamped on them to tell you what temperature they turn the power off to the heater. Depending upon the manufacturer, it could be either in Fahrenheit or Celsius. Sometimes they're marked with a C or an F, and sometimes they're not. They vary in temperature, so check your thermostat to see what it's rated at. This one's rated at 6040 Celsius. That means it shuts the power off at 60 degrees Celsius and turns the power back on when it cools down 40 degrees Celsius below that at around 20 degrees. Once the temperature goes below that, the power to the heater is restored. The thermostats are usually mounted behind the back wall of the freezer section on the evaporator. If the refrigerator is running too long, it could be that the thermostat has failed and power isn't being sent to the defrost heater. When this happens, the evaporator freezes up and cold air can't be circulated properly. This causes the refrigerator to have to run the compressor longer to try and get the temperatures down. To test it, first make sure the thermostat is colder than the reset temperature. It's best to test it in the freezer so it's right around 0 degrees Fahrenheit to be sure it's under the reset temperature. So set your meter to continuity again. Depending upon your design, you may just have to unplug the wiring harness and touch a probe to each terminal. If not, you would have to cut the wires to make sure the thermostat is removed from the system and then test each wire. Touch a probe to each terminal or wire. If the thermostat has continuity when it's cold, then it's fine and you can splice and seal it back in. If it doesn't, then it's failed and needs to be replaced. Next, we need to look at the condenser fan motor. It cools the compressor and condenser coils during operation. Condenser fan motors come in a few different styles, but they all work the same way. A small electric motor spins a shaft with a fan blade on the end to force cool air over the compressor and condenser coils to keep them cool. They're usually located in the back of the machine behind the access panel. Due to its location, the condenser fan motor is exposed to constant heat and dust. If the motor and fan blade are covered in dust, it could be running hot and causing it to run slow, or if it's completely failed, it could cause the compressor and condenser to overheat. If the motor and fan blade are coated in dust, you can try to clean it to see if that helps it run better, but if you determine that the condenser motor has failed, you'll need to replace it. Last thing to look at are the door gaskets. They seal the refrigerator doors. They usually have one flat side with a magnet, while the other side has a rib that mounts it to the door. They seal the door when closed to keep the warm air out and the cold air in. The gaskets are mounted on the outer edge of the door. If the refrigerator runs too long, it could be that the door gasket is either really dirty, especially along the bottom, or it's deformed, allowing warm air into that section, causing the compressor to have to run longer to bring the temperature down. Inspect the door gaskets and clean them if needed. Sometimes the gaskets can get deformed, usually on the hinge side, so you might be able to use a hair dryer to heat up the gasket and reform it. It's rare, but sometimes the magnet inside the door gasket can fail and the magnet just won't hold on to the cabinet anymore. You should feel the magnet hold as you start to open the door, and it should hold on to the cabinet when you close the door. If the magnet's failing, the door gasket's damaged, or it's so badly deformed that you can't get it straightened out to allow the door to seal properly, then you'll have to replace it. Now here's that money-saving tip we mentioned earlier. If your freezer compartment isn't getting as cold as they used to, and your ice cream's getting soft, it could be that your condenser coils are dirty. Dirty coils can cause the freezer to run warmer than normal if the condenser and other components are covered in dust and pet hair. Dust and pet hair can insulate the coils, preventing them from working efficiently. This can also make the refrigerator run more and cause wear and tear to those components. Keeping the coils clean can improve your refrigerator's efficiency by 30%, so doing this can save you money on your electric bill and future repair costs. In order to clean them, you'll have to pull the refrigerator out and remove the rear access panel. Then carefully clean the coils. Keep in mind that some may be accessed from the front. You may have to use a condenser cleaning brush to reach in there. Also, while you're back there, clean the compressor, condenser motor and fan blade, and wipe down everything else. Be sure you're careful not to damage anything, and make sure you do this at least once a year. Once you take care of the problem, you can plug the appliance in, turn the water back on, and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another troubleshooting video brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons now, and if you have any questions or want to share how your repair went, leave a comment down below.